వచ్చిన డబ్బులు లేదా?
తొందర ఏం లేదు. తొందర ఏం లేదు, మనకు
Hello, good morning and good evening. All right, so we have 17 participants already joined in. So, good evening, Lalita. Good evening, Prabha. Yeah, Prabha, hi. Very good evening. It was good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks, Raghavendra. Good evening. Srinivas Rao. Hi. Good evening. Mohan, Sridhar, Madhavi, everyone. Good evening. All right, so um, well, we'll just wait for again a minute and two. Probably let's all folks join in and then we can start. Well, as you know, today and tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we have only 1 hour. So exactly we have 5 hours left. And, we need to, I hope you all have received the ITTO. Probably Kiran or our team should have shared those detail. Yeah. Um, okay. SWOT analysis. Okay, good, Madhavi. And I hope you all have received that. Okay, so we have 20 plus participants. People are still joining in. Let's wait for a moment and in a minute and two we'll start. If you have any queries and question, please feel free to just write in the chat, or you can raise your hand so that you can quickly ask me all those queries and questions. Yeah. All right. So feel free, and till the time I'll be on mute, and you can just drop me in all your with all your queries and questions. Yeah. Hi, Sagar. Very good evening. Sorry, I've not yet started. I was just waiting for other folks to join in. So, hi. All right. So, just a couple of more, a minute, probably 1 minute. I think 38 participants already joined in. Yeah. Very good evening, Kiran, Sagar, Prasad, Murli, Mohan, Satyarani. Hi, Raghavendra, Madhavi. All right. So, let's welcome back to the day one of our week four. So I believe we have only left out is the 5 hours of program, and I hope I trust you all are going through the document. Very good evening, Kishore. Yeah. Well, so two three things you need to do when you all are preparing for the PMP exam. There are three factors, yeah, to beat the PMPs. One is that fear factor, dragging factor, and delayed factor, right? So basically, it's a psychological aspect um, that people are in confused state. Should I give it or not? Is it required for me or not? Can I pass the exam or not? um, you know well, so to avoid this, I think the compelling, there should be some kind of appetite, as you heard about the risk appetite, right? So let's implement that for the PMP's exam. I mean, uh, when I say that, you should have some kind of risk taking or the fear factor, right? So you need to avoid and you to beat those fears, that why should I, if I fail, if I pass, if I fail, then I lose the money. So let's not think about in that aspect. Yeah. So come out of that, and you should be a little bit on the risk appetite, which is your starting point. Right. So let's see like what's happening. uh, Well, apart from that, I think once you beat that, you can directly after this training make a strategy, because uh, if you do not make a strategy, there would be the delayed factor. Delayed factor means like, okay, today and tomorrow I'll start reading, not tomorrow, day after tomorrow I will start reading. So if you do not give the milestone that when you want to appear for the exam, what is your close timeline? Yeah, things will be delayed. I have seen, excuse me, I have seen people dragged for the 6 month, 1 year even. Yeah. And even I've seen the people who already took the training, and they were very much kind of aggressively waiting for this examination and all. But in fact, they didn't plan for 1 year, and then finally they have to reappear for the once again the training, because the PDU validity is only for 1 year, 35 hours contact program, professional development unit. So you need to avoid the fear factor. Let's, if you are clear to do the PMPs, do it. It's a one-time investment. When I prepare for the PMP, I never thought that whether I'll pass or fail. So, well, that compelling was there. Like someone is saying inside me that, okay, I'll pass the exam. Yeah, bring that delayed factor. Avoid that. Um, Delayed and or probably the dragging factor both are same, but like mildly. Sometimes you need to take care, define your milestone when you want to complete or appear for the exam, which month, which week, probably at least on that front. Even if you are more strategically, you can find it out a date, that is also fine. Now do the reverse engineering. Reverse engineering means, what you need to do. Suppose I have 2 more months. Honest me, like 2 more months is very less, and I mean, it is just 8 weeks, right? And you all start will be working somewhere, and then probably you can come back to home, then you will get tired, and then you won't have that kind of energy to go through and read. In fact, if you have a family, then probably it will take a lot of time to share with the families. Yeah. So 8 weeks is nothing but, you know if I can say that, 8 into 5, 40 days, right? And how many chapter, how many knowledge areas are there? Like say for example 49, the process, or there are 9 knowledge areas, there are 5 process group, for example. Yeah, so I'm saying, so if you strategically plan, even, what I planned, not only for the review, that how many days it will take for me to review the entire PMBOK guide chapters, but also I planned for how many days it will require to complete the 3000 question set. Yeah, well, you no need to be worried that exactly the 3000, because I was early in my career and then I prepared for the question set. I did always everything I did on the reverse engineering. I never started with reading the book, going for the exam. No, I started with the preparing the question set that clarified me that, okay, this is what the question looks like. Okay, then the question will, when they say that, okay, for the what is a critical path method, then something will trigger to my mind that whenever I find out the question and solution, I will think about that, okay, this looks like this solution. So I went through the entire uh, question set, and then I started for my examination PMBOK guide and Rita Mulkai book. I had multiple books. I never went through that, those books, at least to save time. Well, you cannot imagine that if you plan for the 4 weeks of, at least one milestone one, and month two is the milestone two. So you have only 4 week means 4 weekend. So at least just imagine one question set is the 200 question. Yeah. Now 200 questions, suppose it will take 4 hours. Maximum how many questions set you can prepare in a week? If you are a working professional, hardly two, or maximum two, I can say. Saturday and Sunday, 4 hour, 4 hour, you can sit straight together. That is also difficult. Yeah. So it means in one week, you can hardly prepare for the 400 questions, isn't it? So it means two question set. Similarly, how many questions set in a month? Like hardly 1000. If you strategically read also, 200 question per one week preparation. So Saturday, Sunday, 400 question, two set. There are 4 weeks in a month, right? So 400 into, like 400 questions. Just imagine like 400 into 4 weeks. So total 4 into 4 is 1600, if I'm not wrong. 1600 is the questions, entire question. If you go for the milestone two, here, there also you can prepare 1600 questions, so almost 3000 questions. Now there was a logic why we are saying the 3000 questions. Yeah. Uh, for me, it was difficult to collect, to prepare. There were some paid version of site. I will share you that one. Don't worry about that. Somewhere free, something I collected from the Google. Sometime, some PDF documents are available in the Google. You can download it. Yeah. So I did that actually, but that's okay. You can cover around, if I'm not wrong, 8 set into 1 month, considering that Saturday and Sunday in a month, 8 Saturday and Sunday, 8 weekends. So hardly you can make 8 set of questions. Yeah, 1500. Similarly, second milestone, which is the month two. Now the problem is not how much you complete. The problem is that you again need to review, right? So you just don't prepare for the exam. You need to prepare, understand the concept, revisit the questions, right? So basically, you cannot continue for 3000 question. Hardly 1000 or 1500 question. If you spend well time, the 2 month itself will take your entire time to prepare 1500 question. Forget about your PMBOK guide, Rita Mulkai book. Yeah, so that is the strategy. So what I did for my PMP exam was, it was early 2008. Well, as I said, I used to prepare from 9:30 to 10 p.m. till 1 a.m. IST. Well, that time was a different, like, you stay with friends, you have a different mindset, you bit aggressive, in terms of each and everything, whatever you do early in your career. Yeah. Well, having said that, now you can imagine that to prepare 1500 question itself will take 2 months of time. So it is most important that you strategize how many the chapter you want to complete per day. Plus every day you need to review, right? So that is the reason I said do not go through line by line through PMBOK guide. So you just need to overview, right? So just read 2 3 line or 4 line and then connect the dot to the second paragraph, then again derive the third paragraph, why third paragraph is dependent on the second paragraph. So connect the dot, it is a kind of flow chart. Your memory should be like that. It will connect the entire PMBOK guide. And ITTO, I believe you all have received that. So there are multiple documents available in the Google. So you can always ITTO, input output tools and technology, or input tools and technology output, ITTO document. Yeah, because there would be 5 to 6 there would be 5 to 6 questions expected. Well, so now what the message I'm giving it here is that even 2 months will be the very shorter time frame. So you need to have a very clear cut plan to be kind of PMP preparations. Yeah, number one. And then the number two is that whatever you read, revisit it. Just don't read it only once. Whether you prepare for an exam, I mean, like the one practice test, but you need to keep continuing for reviewing that. So if you ask me, almost 60 to 65% my time was preparing the question set. 30 to 35% roughly my understanding was that through PMBOK guide and all. I prepare the question, read the PMBOK guide. I prepare the question and then came back to the uh, PMBOK guide. Well, and I remember that 4 hours, we clearly, easily I passed the exam. Uh, uh, I mean, like, it was a good result for me because I've already attended a lot of scenario-based questions. Okay, so let's not talk much about that. We have already folks joined in. Any questions, any queries? Uh, you know, you need to strategize for your PMP exam. And okay, Gangadhar, yes. Excellent. Yes. Yes, I think that is required because, yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It is, you are right, Gangadhar, because it requires strategy. And once you have a good plan, I think you can beat it. Now, without plan, what will happen? Honestly, the 2 month will become like 12 month. And that guarantee I can do. Every week, every month, we are conducting the training with all the participant. We know how what is the weak areas, So without strategy, without proper plan, even 2 month plan will become the 12 month, and then finally you will quit saying that, okay, sorry, the time is not permitting. I have some family constraint. Then your energy will go down, and then you think that, okay, let's quit the plan of becoming the PMPs. Yeah. So fear factor, dragging factor, and the delayed factor. So just be cautious on that with a proper strategy for the PMP. I mean, like it's not rocket science. It's a pretty simple term of the getting the PMPs. So the simplest, you feel simple because all things were difficult before they were easy. So so what you need to do, you need to prepare for a lot of question set that we'll discuss last day. I'll share you my insight where, how, what to get and all. Well, so today, welcome back everyone. Today we are going to talk about um, you know the human resource management. There were a couple of pending stops, I believe. Okay, so last time we discussed about Maslow's hierarchy. Please make a note that there would be definitely a questions on Maslow's hierarchies. Yeah. Well, on Maslow's hierarchies is basically, he says that there would be multiple layers, and basically, if you see, there would be the 5 layers of Maslow's hierarchy. Well, the lowest area is that physiological. I think I have a slide. I'll show it at the later point. Let's not go through detail. Physiological, safety, love and belongings, esteem, and self-actualizations. That is Maslow's hierarchy. Hertzberg motivational motivator theory. So there are multiple, again, the theory X, theory Y. Theory X means the project manager, yeah, believe in theory X. So what do you mean by the theory X? Theory X means someone, the project manager, who are kind of more interested on the micromanagement. Yeah, theory X. Someone who believes that the command and control. Now the theory Y means, you know, X and Y, right? So Y means someone who feels about someone who feels about the trust the participant, and trust the team members, trust the ecosystem, trust the stakeholders, and plan. So theory X and theory Y have their own pros and cons, but please remember that theory X, theory Y, there would be a questions. Yeah. Well, apart from that, there are multiple other questions or the queries. Like, say, for example, Herzberg motivational theories talks about theory X and theory Y, and there are two-factor theory. I mean, like, that's how you should remember it. Yeah, how to motivate the participants. I mean, like, the not participant, the team members. Theory X, theory Y, McGregor theory. One is that Herzberg theory. There are two factors theory. Um, and we have McGregor theory, that is theory X and theory Y. And of course, we have a lot of other theories like expectancies, McLean's achievement theories. Well, last time we also spoke about that how do you manage the human or the resource management, basically, yeah. I've not shared this slide because there would be a small change on the slides. Human to be removed. It would be now the resource management. Few pictures were from the PMBOK 5. I just want to make sure that that is removed, and then I will share you this document. Well, the first point is the chart or the organization. You as a project manager, how do you connect? Basically, you connect with yes, Raghavendra, right? So McGregor, you understood that theory X and theory Y. That is clear, right? So Herzberg is basically, it's a kind of two-factor theory. And say, for example, hygiene, as you said, hygiene and motivation. Absolutely. Last time we spoke about uh, hygiene factors and motivational factors, right? So if somebody asks, like, what could be your hygiene factor? Okay, hygiene factor for me is um, well, like, say, for example, I want the a good ecosystem with my team members, right? In my working environment, I need my job security, right? So I need a very good pay and package. So that is the hygiene factors. Hygiene means, like, it will make you kind of cool and control, but the motivational factor is something else. Herzberg says that the motivational factor does not come from, um, only from your pay package and your salary, right? So motivation, something about delegating the task to your team members, so they will be more motivated. You need to praise their achievement, right? So that it is becoming, Herzberg says that it's a motivational factors. And allow them to raise their concerns, believe your team members to uh, raise if they have any problem and issues. So all sort of things are kind of motivational factors. Yes, Raghavendra, Herzberg theory is hygiene and motivational. There are two factors theory, yeah. And McGregor is theory X, theory Y. Well, and then the Maslow's hierarchy is physiological, safety, love. I mean, like, first you need to get, whenever you, so what happened whenever I first time came for my job, from a IT background, I make sure that I have two things is ready with me. I'm getting enough money to for my food, for my stay. That is my physiological, right? So physiological means my food, water, breathing, and all things are ready. The second point, once I achieve that in my initial 1 and 2 or 3 years of career, the second, my goal was, okay, Now I'm staying in a good rented house. I'm getting my food, I'm getting water, breathing, all sort of things. Now the second point, once I grow in my career, I make sure that the security and safety. Well, what are the security and safety is the second thing, is that I need to make sure that my health, my surrounding, my wellness, my financial securities, and my insurance policies, these are known as the safety factors. First you need to fulfill physiological, and then you need to make sure that you are uh, looking for your safety, in all sort of, once you physiological needs, then the safety needs, right? Okay, the third aspect of your Maslow's hierarchy is, then you are kind of well settled in your career, then you think about that, okay, let's get married. Yeah, so let's get married means you need to find out a partner, like from your organizations, from your college days, school days, or probably arranged marriage, whatever. So love and belongings, that is the third option. Well, now I'm married, I'm working as a project manager, or the project lead. I have the safety, every safety is there. I'm staying in a good apartment. I have my, I can afford for my food, for my water, I have, of course, the, what do you say, like, say, for example, Eureka Force, Aquaguard. So everything is there with me. The next point is esteem. Esteem means some people should respect me, like, is a project manager, or is in the community, in my society, I have a very good car, I have very good responsibility, I'm wearing the good dress, people giving me the kind of respect. So the fourth point is the esteem. And still you achieve, once you become 50 plus, and you have already achieved your physiological safety, love and belongings, esteems, the final point is the self actualizations. Yeah, don't worry, we have another slide to come back to that point. All right, so someone raised the hand. Is it uh, uh, Basa? Yes, Basa, like, would you like to, can someone help me? Basa, you have any questions? If you feel any queries, either you can, are you in audio? Yes. Uh, Kiran, you can help Basa. I think he is struggling with audio or something. I'm not sure, but you please, yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about. I hope it is clear now that. Uh, well, now how to do the human resource or the resource management. Basically, there are multiple tools we apply. So responsibility or the resource assignment matrix, RAM. Yeah. So it can be the two-dimensional, if you see the responsibility chart, matrix based two-dimensional, or it can be the simple text oriented format, or sometimes you can hierarchical way of representing the resources. All right. Now, well, you remember I said that as a project manager, whenever you work as a project manager, make sure that you are first getting couple of, or the securing couple of document from your organizations. Apart from your project charter, your team structure, your estimation process, you also need to understand that we need to collect or understand the RASI metrics of your project program or the company or the organizations. Yeah, you might be thinking how RASI will help me, because without RASI, like, how can I know that if some problem happens, if some hardware crash, then to whom I need to reach out to as a project manager? If there are conflicts are happening, if people are quitting, if the attrition rate is high, then to whom I need to reach out to? Do I need to reach out to directly to HR, or shall I go to my program manager, or probably the other stakeholders? If customer is not happy, there are a lot of change requests are coming, how to manage that? To whom I need to talk to? If I want to go for upcycle release, then how to connect to which release management team? Similarly, if I'm constructing a building, then the raw material are, still not yet delivered. Yeah. Then how to escalate and to whom to reach out and who is the marketing head. So a lot of other things you need to understand. That is known as the RASI metrics. Like for each and every activities, I repeat, for each and every expected activities, who are responsible, accountable, who should be consulted, and who should be informed. Right. So this is what we discussed. Okay. And so if you see this diagram, that each of the tasks like create charter has been like given a the accountable only to one person. Now why they have not given uh, multiple accountable means who is answerable. Okay, now suppose if the fighting between Doklam, like China and India's, the army or the military people, suppose they fight with each other. So who are kind of accountable? Who should come and give a brief, the input? Yes, it's the Ministry of Defense, right? It is someone who are the authorized to talk. The accountability, the responsible might be someone else. Someone might have done some mistake, or someone might have done something, whatever they have done. But the accountable is the channel who will take the responsibility and he should own it. If the fire is if there is some fire in the like factory, yeah, there might be someone responsible. Someone might have done wrong in the wiring. Someone might have done using something else, right? Say for example, people are nowadays using like suppose in petrol, and somebody is taking cigarette and then throwing it, some fire came out, right? It might be responsibility, might be someone else. But who are accountable might be the store in charge, the security in charge. Well, so every activity should have the assigned, but please make sure that that is also required for you to understand. Well, there might be some questions will be coming up. Maslow's hierarchy, there are 5 level. Physiological is the basic starting point. Safety, love and belonging, esteem, self actualizations, right? These are the Maslow's hierarchy. So first, what you need, as I said, physiological. Then number two is, I mean, like I've not mentioned clearly here, but you can understand. Number two is the safety. Once you achieve your safety and all concern, then you go for love and belongings. Well, the fourth point is the esteem and self-actualizations. Hertzberg is another theory says that hygiene and motivational factor. Now, what will happen? Few people, if you pay more money, also they will not stay in the company. You need to take care of both balance. Like you pay them. Suppose if I pay you as a, if I'm as a master, suppose as a, what to say, like as a owner of the company, if I pay you X amount of money and then I double it to you, so what will you do? You will get take the money and then try for another companies, right? So Hertzberg theory said that you only, if we no need to consider only on the hygiene factor, but also you need to consider the motivational factors. So two things should be well balanced. Well, theory X and Y, right? So I mean, like theory X and Y, you need to make sure that there are two kind of project manager, and as a project manager you need to make sure not only about your Maslow's hierarchy, but also Herzberg, and then make sure that theory X and theory Y. So theory X is nothing but it's a kind of command and control, authoritative, means someone is interested. Few project manager I have seen, they are very kind of aggressive, command and control, they are not participative. But that's ruled out. Theory Y is required uh, for a project manager, and you will be getting definitely one questions on theory X and Y. So always select which one is the good, means you need to select theory Y. Expectancies, well, expectancy and Mackland is anyway, expected theory says that uh, meet the or at least you try to meet the expectations in terms of, like, somebody has joined your company, he should have some kind of the aspirations, or some kind of the, what to say, like some kind of expectations from your company, right? Say for example, you need to manage that way. So, well, Mcleland is talks about there are three types of people are there. So basically, achievement, those who are more oriented to achieve, to do something else, right? Someone who affiliate, and someone who look for the kind of power. Yeah, achievement means people who do the write the patent, prepare some kind of patent, some do the R&D research. They are the achievement people. Yeah, affiliations means, like, it is a both term, like you I mean, like, you just try to kind of associate with someone who have achieved, or someone who have the power. Power means you don't think about whether you achievement or not, but you feel that you should get the power. And if you are into the power, like, kind of people, then uh, you know nowadays who have the power in our country, and of course the politicians, right? So you understand that if you run after the power, I mean, like, from here the concept of politics, or the dynamics, or the organizational politics may come up. Yeah. All right. So a resource plan, I think we already discussed that. Roles and responsibilities, define your organizational chart, and make sure that you need to connect your staffing management plan, because there would be so HR, right? So under human resource is not staffing, by the way, like people get confused. Human resource, I mean, like, resource management does not mean that only the people management, I mean, like, so you have also, say for example, uh, resource management is a very big one, by the way. And staffing management plan is staffing acquisitions. Make sure that you are planning for the buffer team, you're planning for the resource calendars. Make sure that you are having a award ceremonies, recognitions, and a lot of other related. Yeah. Okay, so here, um, may or may not get questioned, because resource or the management would be, not that much of kind of painful areas for you, because all these points are the theoretical, and you can quickly get the better solution. Well, in the PMPs, another problem, or the one of the statement is that there might be two answers. It looks like okay, or the correct answer. The moment your thought, your mind, your understanding, uh, sometimes you feel that both the answer looks similar, or looks kind of the correct answer. So in that case, you start with eliminate process. Whenever you are not confident with the direct question and answer, think about the eliminating process. Okay, after eliminating, you found that, okay, out of four options, there are two looks like correct, and two is wrong, eliminated. Out of two, you need to find it out which is actually the highest correct answer, means the high value, or I mean, it's like more relevant answer out of these two questions. Yeah, I've seen that multiple questions said there would be two answer, but you need to select one highest relevant answer for the queries. Yeah, so that also you need to make sure. Well, planning phase, I think we have done that. We understood we have to acquire the project team during the execution phase. So once you plan, then you need to execute. Yeah. Yes, Manala. Salary expectations, right? So that is, I mean, like, that is also one of the big factor. People might be thinking that I'll join a company. HR committed that, okay, you will get 20% of hike. I mean, like, when the appraisal, you get 2%. Expectancies theory says that, like, it's not mandatory that you have to give the 20% hike, but at least not 2%. Like, somehow you need to meet the, and also there are the different. Okay, good. So any queries and questions on the top of it? If not, I think there is another, let's move to the another, what's it, like, the areas, which is acquiring the project team. Now, acquiring the project team has a multiple, the approach basically. Yeah. So why someone need to acquire, make sure that you have a human resource capabilities. If I want to hire something, it means we don't have the capabilities and we are hiring not the people, we are hiring the capabilities, the knowledge, you know, the skill set. Well, so that's how you need to make sure that what are the things you wanted to plan and hire it. Yeah. Well, you know, right? That is a pre-assignment. Like, okay, what is a pre-assignment? Tools and techniques of, the acquiring a project team. When I do, like, few customer come to me and then ask, Pratap, we want to, do some kind of center of excellency, some improvement. We want to do the agile transformation, safe transformation. We want to make sure that we have PM center of excellencies. We want to create a hybrid model. We want a maturity model. We want to make sure that the quality gets, and the milestones also include the lean concept plus the agile concept. Is a hybrid model. Well, so what they do, they ask, or sometimes they ask, we need MPP tools. The sometimes they may ask, we may want Jira tool. So what I do, they give me the pre-assignment. Yeah. So based on the pre-assignment for a small duration, is a kind of POC, the pilot or the proof of concept or some kind of demonstrations pre-assignment. All right. So sometime in your typical term contract to hire, right? So what contract C2H means what? Like, we'll give you the work, but if you are doing good, it's well and good. We'll take you on board. If not, then we'll remove you very quickly. So pre-assignment negotiation during hiring, where the dialogues between the manager, the resource managers need to talk to the candidate and do the negotiations. Acquisitions agreed, offer letter issued, then you onboarded the team member, or the candidate also accepted the offer, right? So acquisition. Sometime what happened? You need to create virtual team. Like today, you, me, and we all are connected virtually. People are from different part of Andhra Pradesh, or I mean, like the different resident. Few people are from UK, US, or Bahrain, UAE, and all. So I mean, it's like virtual team structure need to be also to be managed. Yeah. So tools and technologies. Well, I mean, like these are the point which is required. Well, applying these tools and techniques for the resource management, it is most important that you have an output of the resource with the resource timeline and with the responsibility assignment matrix, RAM. Well, people get confused. RAM is, sometimes people call this resource assignment matrix, which might be correct logically, but actual term of uh, of RAM is responsibility assignment matrix. Well, so that is also, you can say that project staff assignment. Resource calendar is nothing but your collection of the entire team members, their roles and responsibilities. Everything. Resource calendar talks about your entire detail of the resource. I mean, like their associations, their timeline, a lot of other detail as well. Okay. Coming back to, I think this is what we discussed, uh, acquiring the pre-assignment negotiations, acquisitions, multi-criteria decision. Well, like, I mean, like, depending on, if I want to hire, if the people want to join, then I should have some kind of backup plan, right? Multi-criteria. If someone want to join, well, if someone is asking for more money, then I should be ready to at least give, up to some kind of pay package. Yeah. If it's a kind of critical and we don't have anything on buffer and we don't find any people, then hire them irrespective of whatever the salary they are looking at it. So multi-criteria decisions, and then moving back to, once you acquire the project team, you hire them, and then once you hired them, you started engaging them into the project, right? So you make them a small team. So that process is known as developing the small project team. Well, why should we make and consider a small project team? Because we need to quickly not only assign the task, but also we need to enable and leverage the competencies of the team members. We also need to make sure the entire team member, the overall team members are kind of aligned towards the project deliveries and should be able to work in the project environment. Yeah, isn't it? Because you hire the team, then you need to make sure that the project team members are assigned with a lot of work. They are interacting with each other, and you are making some plan to improve their competencies. Basically, you are creating a competencies, a competency where the couple of peoples come together and start delivering the kind of the product or the project. Yeah. Well, I mean, as a project manager, you also need to take care of the interaction model. What is an interaction model is, uh, like interaction model is nothing but your to and fro, the medium of communication, to whom to connect and how to kind of communicate, what to communicate, how to communicate, and with whom to communicate, right? So that's how the entire team member interactions, and you need to establish the overall team project environment. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's not talk, because all these are the theoretical aspect. Whenever you get this document, you can definitely go through this and have a very quick understanding. Well, project team, once you have defined the team, you have also established the team bonding or team training, and you have established some kind of what you like, the rules, that how to work, what is our protocol, or the kind of the how to maximize the potential of the team. And co-located, it is always good that the team are kind of virtually or physically they are co-located at one place, working together on a single floor or probably on a single desk, multiple people's working together, co-located. All right. Well, the output should be the kind of make sure that you have a very good team structured, came up with, you are ready to what you like, identify and enable the team performance. So team performance can be based on your team activities, or the the not team activities means, I mean, like how they are working together and their conflict resolutions. They have the capabilities to understand the problem and provide the solution. I mean, like this team performance assessment. Yeah. Well, we'll not go through detail. I know it. You can all go through that. So developing the project teams, tools and technology, interpersonal like skill, good communication skill, the attitude, people need to have a very good letter drafting, the good communication, interacting with the customer, and empathetic, the skill set. Well, training, team building activities, there should be some rules, co-located recognitions, and personal activities. Yeah. Well, forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning, right? So this is what we have covered, that five stage of the team development. And the person who developed this is known as the Bruce Tuckman. So as per the Bruce Tuckman, it talks about that for the people who are very new to the organizations, new to the team, what they do, they first, I mean, like they are very new to each other, like forming, they are coming together. Storming, it means uh, they are started working, but there are also some kind of conflict. So they are working with conflict is storming. Now, norming means acceptance. For example, from the day one, when we start, that is known as the forming, right? You and me all together, the participants, the trainer, they came together, form a PMP training group. Storming, right? So basically, sometime, uh, your expectation, my expectation uh, might not match, right? So what will happen then? Somehow we feel the disconnect between the two parties. So that is storming. But then we realize and we understand with each other, and then we started accepting each other, and then working together. That is known as the norming. And after norming, today we are on the performing stage. Basically, what is a performing? It means we know each other, we have accepted each other, and then we know what to deliver together. So let's start working it, irrespective of all the conflict, irrespective of all these, what is it, like the internal resistance. So as a project manager, you should understand that the team is in which state as of now. Team might be, well, for a project manager, the biggest, uh, I mean, like the more involvement would be at the forming and storming, right? So forming, where you will be the kind of working how to onboard your team, how to hire the team, or like to take some input from other team members, kind of taking the resource, or what to say, you know transferring the resource from one team to another team. Storming, where you are actually involved in how to mitigate the conflict between two or multiple team members. So project manager, there would be a question. So you start forming, the involvement of project manager is forming and storming is the highest. Norming, performing, adjourning. Adjourning is also somehow is there, but adjourning is nothing but, once work is done, you need to release people from your team. Few people will be working for the different project or the product. Like if your construction of the building has been completed, yeah. So what you do, you don't remove the entire thing, right? So you keep 1 and 2 and 3 person who can still help with a lot of the plumbing issues, if any electricity issues, if any other kind of cleaning, or some kind of coloring issues. However, adjourning does not mean that you need to remove or release the entire team at one point of time. So adjourning also requires some plan by when I want. And I have remembered that if it is a program, and if it is a continuous project we would be getting, then what happens? Even there are no adjourning. So what we do, we try to see the time frame between two projects, how to best utilize, so that we do not release team members, and also there are no overhead on the project budget. Yeah. Well, the last one, which is also, the kind of, uh, is critical point, I can say. So managing your project team, acquire, develop, and manage the project team, which is the day-to-day activities of your, as a project manager. Well, given a chance, suppose you are given a chance to be a project manager. Now, you realize that two people started kind of arguing each other, right? Say for example, it's a developer or the tester, or the plumber and electrician, or the maintenance, whatever you called it as, right? So the moment you realize those, that some conflicts are happening, so what you should do? Like, should you wait and watch, or should you escalate to someone else, or should you inform to your customer, or you need to go and talk one by one, or you need to bring them together and shout on them, not to shout? Well, I think the best thing is that first understand what is the problem individually, bring them together under one, I mean, like onto one table, and then one to one, after one to one, you discuss them together. Yeah. So conflict management, resolving issues. If somebody says that, you know what, my I don't have the raw material. I cannot, like the carpenter says, that I have not received any raw material. There are no wood, there are no ply. How can I work? So this is what you need to resolve the issues. Sometime what happened, you need to also provide the feedback based on the customer input as a project manager. Providing frequent the input to the team and on time makes more important. Now what will happen, if you as a project manager, if you are not aware of that what exactly is happening, where is the issues, then you cannot do these activities, right? You cannot even provide some feedback. So sometime what happened, I have seen that people do a kind of postman, right? So you collect the information, send it to the customer, collect from the customer, send it back to the team. So that's not actually the project manager. Somebody said that, ask me, Pratap, what do you think, that what are the percentage of hold or the control you should have on a project? I answered that without command and control, I need 100% control over the product or the project. And to have the control does not mean that you should have some basic understanding about the domain or the what is the thing, and you also should have some estimation process. You should have a good understanding the communication, the risk management, and how to manage your stakeholders. So you should be very good at all sort of things. Let a project manager not to be a kind of showcase to the customer that you talk very fluent English, yeah, you talk very nice English, but in fact I have seen when I worked with US customer and all, probably that accent is different, but they also don't the big people I've seen, they are very simple in terms of, but they are very precise and very to the point into their communications, yeah. So make sure you as a project manager, you provide feedback on time. To provide feedback, you should have a very good understanding what's happening. So for that, on day-to-day basis, you should be deep diving into the project progress, what exactly the developments are happening or what work is happening around the project, and who are the stakeholders, what are the stakeholder impact. So it is sometimes project manager, they always think about the scheduling and they think about resource management, cost management. However, being as a project manager, there are multiple dimensions as well. Well, uh, now as a project manager, you should also need to take care of the learning curve, like who need what kind of the training, who need what kind of knowledge to be upgraded by the team members. Yeah. So skill metrics is also required to be prepared by the project manager. Without skill metrics, you won't be able to support your team that to fill the gap of their knowledge. All right. So for that, you need to track the performance, how exactly a team member is doing, and then you plan for your skill metrics. I remember when we used to prepare the skill metrics, then we prepare what training they need, what knowledge they want to acquire. Then we talk to L&D team. Then we establish a training, and sometime we send people for nominated the people for the certifications, because sometime organizations client need some kind of authorized certified people, yeah. Well, I mean, project manager does that. So you need to make sure that you are also been kind of, well, another biggest problem, it may consume your time, yeah. If you are not good at project management or if you are very new, make sure that it's a little bit overhead would be there, because when you manage the entire project, well, I've been as a program manager, I remembered when I was struggling, because till night 10, 11, 12, we used to have a meeting, and then morning 5 o'clock there would be the US stakeholder meeting. So, well, that there are PM book will not say that how to manage these situations, how to avoid the overtime work, so the only thing is that you need to speed up certain things and select what you want to deliver on time as a project manager. But few, I mean, like most of the activities will consume your entire time. So make sure you plan being as a good project manager. A lot of other details as well. Yes. Okay, managing the project team. For that, you need to observe, not only observe the team members, but also you need to communicate, contact, and talk to your team members. Based on the work, you can also do some kind of performance appraisal in terms of the kind of ratings, right? Please remember, do not wait for, okay, if one person is not working, let me wait for the next year appraisal. I will give him either one or her 1 and 2%. No, that's not the case for waiting for 1 and 2 months. You should have a skill matrix, fill the gap, and constant communication that what is the expected from the product and the project. And you need to groom, like you need to help your team to kind of deliver on their peak or the highest the capabilities. Conflict management, interpersonal skills are nothing interpersonal skills is nothing but how to um, how to communicate with stakeholders, how to work with the peers. If someone is asking queries, how to solve, help, extend the helping, or extending all those helps to the peers or the team members. Sometimes also it is required that how do you communicate in terms of your KPIs, metrics, solutions, and everything, right? So that's how the interpersonal skills. Well, the output would be definitely, the kind of whenever you manage the project team, the project management plan, whatever you prepared, that need to be updated based on the resource management. Well, during the resource management, you also need to update the project management plan. All respect, I mean, like the cost management, budget, or probably the schedule, whether it's a resource, I mean, like the fast track or crashing, resource loading, or the leveling. So all sort of detail to be captured. Well, that is known as the, I mean, like one of the PMIS, project management information system. So project document update is also the output. The point 1 and 2 you don't need to remember, it's not required because and by the way, like enterprise environmental factors update, yes, sometime with the input, if the teams are not able to deliver the product on the cloud, then you find it out that you don't have that capabilities of the cloud going for Azure, Amazon, and all, right? If somebody says that I want a swimming pool on the third floor of my building and you are not able to do that because you never delivered that, and you, I mean, like you don't know what is the process steps to make sure to construct a swimming pool at the top. Yeah. Enterprise environmental factors, the current environment, current capabilities, current skill set, current tools and technologies you have, current resource power. So that's the KPIs, metrics, the template, right? So all inclusive is known as enterprise environmental factors. Similarly, the same thing, like, the, I mean, like the process asset, the flow, current flow chart. Well, so that talks about your, well, so this is what we discussed. I believe, if I'm not wrong, I've gone through that very high level, that withdraw or avoid the conflict management. Yeah. So conflict management, uh, there are, these are the categories, like, hope you remember last time we talked about, if the two persons are kind of not aligned or probably there is a conflict between two people, then you need to mitigate the risk either, uh, as a project manager, you need to provide a solution to them and two-person need to withdraw, or one person or the both the person need to avoid, this kind of conflict management. Please remember, this conflict management, you as a project manager should not withdraw from the problem. Yeah. So don't take in that aspect that you avoid the problem statement. No, it is between the team members, how they should manage the conflict, withdrawing from the disagreement or avoiding being disagree with another team members. Smooth and accommodate, like, If you ask me a question, I should accommodate to answer your questions, irrespective of considering that very limited time. There's a lot of things to be covered. Accommodate, compromise. Like say, for example, irrespective of the participant, if you understand remembering or not remembering, but still you give your 100% time, that's you are compromising. I mean, like, few people, what happened, when I was a student, basically I sometimes I don't understand much of the more of the things, like, or sometimes I don't understand one topic. Sometimes I don't feel to ask of, during the training. So I compromise the situation. Okay, like sometimes the trainer didn't give me the real scenarios based answer. I didn't ask him. I compromise, right? Compromise means like it's a kind of not only accepting, but you are accepting, but also enabling and ready to implement those compromise. While force and direct, where someone need to make sure they convince other, I will make sure that you convince to all the team members to join on time. So that is forcing, right? So that is a directing. Prescriptive, I'm providing some prescription or some kind of predefined statement, or the kind of rules. Well, I mean, like, these are the point: interpersonal skill, leadership. Your leadership is autocratic, or the optimistic, a lot of leadership style, influencing effective decision making. Okay, now there are, in the PMBOK guide, if you see the entire the PMBOK, the chapter, yeah, so whatever you find in this, all right, I hope you can see the entire thing, right? Well, so out of this, the procurement and the I mean, like, the stakeholder, the communication management. Where is the communications? Integration, scope, time, cost, quality, communication, right? So this is the project communication. So communication and stakeholder management. So, well, stakeholder management, it's basically, you no need to kind of remembering the entire thing, because there is one more topic is there, which is the professional ethics. Professional ethics, you will be getting a lot of queries and questions. Yeah. So, I mean, like, stakeholder management and communication management, as per my understanding. Well, uh, communication management, even the procurement management, even the stakeholder management, you may little bit kind of skeptical, not going to the entire detail. I'm repeating, it does not mean that you have to remove that, because that would be definitely. So your project communication management, it would be on your general knowledge basis. Only you need to remember ITTO. Now, procurement management, again, it is also your ITTO kind of, or the general knowledge, your IQ based questions, right? So you no need to remember much. Well, stakeholder management is, again, because professional ethics, whenever you talk about that, is a part of your what is it, like, the managing the stakeholders. So you may think about, these are the three aspects where I feel not much questions you would be getting it from the PMBOK guide. Yeah. Well, having said that, I think there is another important point for you is uh, how to conflict, or how to manage the conflict in a team. All right. So anyone, can someone share me, or you people share me a couple of points, that how did you manage the conflict, or you as a team member, you as a project manager, you as a leader, or what you think that how should you manage a conflict? Suppose we are the two team members, or I'm your customer, or probably I'm the developer, or I'm the kind of the kind of raw material suppliers. So, as a project manager, so what do you think? Can you give me one and two options, or the scenario? What were those conflicts you saw on your recent times? Feel free to just write it. Yeah. I hope you all can read me and see, I mean, like hear me loud and clear. I would like to see if you find anything at this current project or in the past if you found something who, I mean, like the conflict management. Okay, we got one from, okay, the vendor management, third party management. Okay, good. Anyone else? We have only one scenario. How about other team members? Can you share me one and two of your conflicts which you faced recently? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Anyone else? Very good. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Quite interesting. Okay. Yes, Brahmarambika, that's a appraisal time. Yeah. Conflict management. Anyone else before I come back with my understanding? Yeah. It can be like you can come up with your agile, scrum, kanban, devops, waterfall, hybrid model, b model, rup model, construction domain, domain, anything, whatever is coming to your mind. Okay. Okay, quite interesting. Okay. Yes, Kiran, that's also correct. Okay, so there are a couple of points. Keep writing. I think that's a very interesting point. Is see now one of the Prava, you have written that third party management, basically outsourcing or your vendor and suppliers. Yeah. Uh, yes. So that also the one of the conflict management. And see, your vendor and suppliers should be also sometime what happened, the part of your governance model. Yeah. So you are right, Prava. Like sometime if it is IT company, I remembered that the development has given to TCS, the testing given to Infosys, the customer sitting at US healthcare domain. We have their own the IT team. Well, the handshaking between two teams, two different vendors. I can say like outsourcing. Yeah, so that makes sense. Good. Well, Srinivas Rao, based on the conditions arise, conflict will be resolved with support of team members or supporting to overcome the issues. Yeah. Well, the conflict as a project manager, what should you do for the conflict management? Right. So this is what now I wanted to talk to you that. Well, whenever you as a project manager, the best thing is that so address your like whatever you did the SWOT analysis, gap analysis and all for each and every conflict management, you need to understand, listen, and then ask your team members very clearly, like don't be get biased or kind of impartial understanding. Yeah. Conflict management is one of the highest priority for your team, because without that conducive environment, without a better environment, and the conflict keeps on. I remember, I will tell you one when I was a developer. Uh, I was working on that time. I started with my .NET. I mean, like that time, Visual Basic 6.0. Uh, and then I moved to the Oracle. Then I moved to the SQL Server, Transact SQL, Sybase, and all as a database professional. Well, the transition between there was a Sybase project. Even though I was Sybase professional certified, I was not very much strong in writing the queries, join, inner, outer, and all. So I used to ask one of my very good colleagues next to me. And do you know, like I used to ask, like, and surprised that during the appraisal, the colleagues, he has written in the appraisal that I have resolved 40 plus questions or some number he has given, that 30 plus question asked by Pratap. Right. So this is kind of the conflict arise that, and I was a bit kind of surprised that you just helped me, but you are putting that in the appraisal. So resolution, conflict resolution techniques is also should be your cup of tea as a project manager. On day-to-day basis, you should have certain strategies. Like, what are the strategies? Avoid. You remember I said avoiding, compromising, accommodating, collaborating. So all sort of strategy, you need to find it out. Just listen to them and talk to both the parties and fix the issues, right? And then find it out the solution. Now, if some problem statement are coming to you, do not take the problem statement from your team member. Ask them to come up with the solution. Whenever I, as a project manager, is some conflict come, I ask them, please do not come, or I request them not to come up with only the problem statement, come up with the solution level, like whatever the solution you have in front of us. Trust me, 50% people will never come up because they know there are no solution. They need to manage by themselves. Yeah. So done. They will not raise these questions. The genuine things will come up. Well, I mean, like, that's one of the points, right? So conflict resolution management. Yeah. Conflict between development and testing team. Yes, Bhaskar. On day-to-day basis, as I said, it's an ongoing process. By the way, you don't think that you are a project manager, you have a silver bullet, and then people, you can clean off the entire mess, which is quite. So find it out the root cause, pain areas, conflict management. You need to make sure that you need to avoid. I mean, like, conflict management, avoiding, compromising, accommodating. The collaborating, the different, the strategies, right? Competing sometimes is also there. Good. Conflict between development and testing. Well, development and testing, uh, you need to make a social agreement. That is one of the tricks I can say, Bhaskar, that as a project manager, you need to make sure what is our social agreement. Mostly in agile project, we do that. Even the waterfall can be implemented. Social agreement means team will decide how they want to work together, how they want to communicate together, how they want to resolve the conflict. Please remember, this is only for the team, not for the external stakeholder, not for your PM, or the team members will decide. That is known as the social agreement. The team will conclude, and by the time 50 or 60% your problem has been resolved, addressed by the team itself. Yeah, good. Coming back to the another, in agile scheduling, when PBIS are missed. Okay, I mean, like, in agile scheduling, is it PBIS stands for what, Prabha? You can just ping me that, PBIS. Some terminologies I'm missing it. Yeah. Resource allocation, true. Resource allocation, project manager, I remember they need to fight in terms of fighting to get good resources. Sometime you need to manage your budget, and conflict arise when you don't have people. Sales team or the bidding team has confirmed, got the project. They committed to they've given a very good the scenery or good understanding to customer that they can deliver n number of things, but by the way, they have not hired a single people when it comes to the delivery, right? So resource allocation is also the conflict will come up when you are hiring, people won't join. If you are trying to request from other team member, you want to get it, then you take the people from the deputation, you take the people from the contractual. Sometimes you try to from other project working partial FTE 0.5 0.25 FTE for your team. I mean, like, that's also one point. Yes, Raghavendra, correct. Agree, compromise between the teams. Appraisal time, yes, appraisal time is a traditional approach. Well, there is a solution for that. Appraisals are being done nowadays on a team basis, not the person specific, team member specific. If you and me all are together, like, we both will get equal ratings, right? If together we deliver more, we get a better rating. Irrespective of whatever you do, you might be better than me, um, you know but when it comes to the appraisal, every group member will get one single consistent appraisal. I mean, team specific appraisal, not a person specific. Okay, Gangadhar, conflicts between the different practices like operations and development. Yes. Well, we have a lot of frameworks are available. DevOps is there. We have, if it is a ITITES, we have CI, CD, DevOps. We have some automation framework. We have robotic process automation. We have artificial intelligence, right? So a lot of other things are there where you can need to have a we have a one-touch deployment, or where we have a distributed version control system. We have the build deployment. We have the configuration management. The kind of dark launch, feature toggle. So a lot of other concepts are there where we can, good. Yes, Prabha, you are right. So blame game between the dev and testing team due to the slippage. Yes. Uh, CI/CD may help. One single branch of your development that may help. Resource handling during the COVID. Yes, that is typical. Okay, good. Kiran. Ashok Kumar, while allocating jobs, demand. Yes, if conflict will come if you are not able to feed your, I mean, like while allocating internal work, I can say that is known as the demand. As a project manager, if you are not able to create or get the proper demand, then you need to struggle, and conflict may come off with having multiple team on board but no demand. Well, as a PM, listen and understand the both parties' conflict. Yes, true. Analyze, perfect the conflict, and come to the solutions. But this solution, either you need to accommodate or make sure they compromise or collaborate, right? So accommodating, compromising, avoiding, collaborating, competing. So these are the kind of conflict, the resolution management techniques. Yeah. Well, whatever the things, do not take the stress. So you need to manage the stress of the team ecosystem as well as yours. If you are succumbs to the stress of the entire ecosystem, uh, that leads to a different stage. Yeah. Well, a product. Acha, okay. Product PBI, product backlog index. Correct. Okay. Good. I mean, um, well, so see, PBIs like product backlog indexing, prioritizations, ordering will not be missed. Prava, like if your your product owner understand what is a smart model, what is a invest model, what is Moscow model, all sort of model prioritization, the business value prioritizations, or probably the cost of delay, COD, or probably if you talk about safe, they talk about weighted shortest job fast, right? So scheduling dependencies, critical path, the prioritizations, the business values, a lot of other criterias. You need to teach your product owners who can uh, take care. Yeah. Yes, true. I agree, Prabha. Like it is, we have seen this multiple. Yeah. And this conflict manage happens. Madhavi, change is good aspect, but not easy to accept. Conflict happens then a bit initially. Yes, reroute it through the change control board if it is a waterfall model. Yeah. And if it is an agile model, then keep an eye on the scope creep because your team capacity is fixed. Yeah. You need to de-scope few requirement, storage, epic, whatever, and add the new requirement. So scope creep should not go beyond your team capacity. So that also you should make sure. Change is a good aspect, yes, uh, but not easy to accept. You have to reroute it through change control board, and then the after CCB change control board will ask for the impact analysis document IAD, and IAD require that you need to understand where are the impacts will happen for the changes, right? Well, I mean, like that also good. I think that's a very good understanding team. So I hope you all have a very kind of current situations looks very promising in terms of all your conflict management. Yeah. All right. So if you get some kind of question that conflict resolution, conflict strategies, accommodating, compromising, competing, collaborating, and avoiding, right? So that's the strategy. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As a project manager, you have to respond rationally, not biasing to anything, right? So sometimes what happens, it's a human tendency is that you feel you are always biased to one and two persons, right? So I mean, like that's a deadly situation. So if you do that, you know, project conflict will go on, keep on continuing. Yeah. Okay, good. Let's not talk. I think we already discussed about resource, project priorities. You know, as you said, Prava, that the project, the requirement priorities, the schedule sometime might be compromised. Resource could be kind of common reason for the conflict. Well, this is will not discuss like withdraw and avoid. It means well, so withdraw means or avoid. Avoid means you are just closing, right? Postponing the issue for the kind of as a project manager, when I ask my team members, please come up with your problem, your conflict with one or two or multiple solutions. So what will happen? This will lead to the people or the team member will withdraw or they try to avoid. Withdraw means they will remain silent. They will not create any come back to any conflict. Smooth and accommodate, as I said, emphasize those where the area, the common areas, rather than the differences. So you are pacifying, right? Say, for example, when the India and China, uh, the the army men came together. So there was a multiple level of escalation point or the discussion happened. Even it happened the general level, it happens, I mean like the kernel level and a lot of other level of talk happens between two people, two army of both side, I mean like. So what they did, they find out some common point, right? So common agreement, they didn't go much for the differences, so that's how smoothing. Accommodating means finally China accepted, okay, uh, you know, okay, for a better relationship, let's anyway, we did a mistake, let's come out of the borderline. Yeah, I mean, political statement. Smooth and accommodate, compromise and reconcile. Compromise means like sometimes you are finding out a alternate solution. Well, uh, for why do I find out a quick fix, the alternate solution? Because we want to make sure that it will not kind of multiply. We want to pacify the situations. So this quick fix is not a permanent solution. It is some kind of satisfactions you are giving to the both the parties for a quick and temporary resolving the conflict, partially resolving the conflict. So where both the party will lose actually. Now force and direct. Well, I mean, like one, if you are giving your judgment, it means you are closing the conflict. Someone should be the winner and the other side will be the loser. Compromise means both will kind of agree irrespective of their losses, right? Both party will come to a common conclusion and start accepting. Well, I mean, like these are the 5 point you need to understand. Yeah. Win-win, like collaborate, come together and find out the problem, root cause, RCA, root cause analysis, and the problem statement. Well, having said that, I think these are the 4 5 areas which you should do that. Okay, that's how that we discussed. um, Define the root cause of the problem, and the root cause can be done. uh, there are multiple approach. What is the first approach for the root cause analysis? Find out the root cause analysis. We have a RCA, root cause analysis diagram, Ishikawa diagram, fishbone. I mean, like fishbone and Ishikawa both are same. We have 5 whys. Why I got late? Why are you late? Because my car has no kind of petrol. Why you didn't have the petrol in your car? Because yesterday I forgot. Why did you forget? Because I went to a you know, I was busy with my kids function. Why you are busy with your kids function? Because that was a holiday. It means your laziness. So what I mean to say is that root cause analysis, once you find your root cause, analyze the root cause and then the problem statement or the problem, and work around the problem around this root cause, right? So that is nothing but possible solution. You might be multiple solution, pick up one solution and start implementing those. Well, nothing new in this slide. I mean, like, these are the steps you need to remember for uh, you know, the tools to kind of problem solving techniques. All right. um, Anyway, like well in this slide, basically there is one person who is known as the I mean, like, five bases of power. Like, how you think power means, um the delighted factor, or the people will feel kind of empowered, right? So there are five areas, or the source or the base of the power. It's for the John and Raven, right? French, John French and Bertram Raven. It talks about expert power, legitimate power. Legitimate power means you have given the authority, the legal authority, legitimate power, right? Say for example, if you are a kind of the coach for Indian cricket team, you have the legal authority to decide. I mean, like, the board will decide who will be playing, who will be not playing, irrespective of all your capabilities. So legitimate power, they give some kind of judicial power. Expert power means you are very much strong in the domain, you are a subject matter expert. Reward power, reward means someone is given some kind of compliments to you, that you have achieved something, you have done something, and some kind of the acknowledgement is given to you. Well, coercive and referent, basically, if you see this 2 point is depends on the different aspect and areas. For example, I'm talking about the referent power. As a project manager, say for example, I want to make sure that my team members, or as a project manager, I should have the referent power. Referent power means I should be able to communicate to all my student. I should be able to communicate and make sure that they kind of follow me. So how can I make sure that people will follow me? Yeah. If you are a spiritual leader, right? How why do you follow a spiritual leader? It is just not because the charismatic, the way he talks, but probably they provide a uh, I mean, like, the way they talk, the way they appear, the transparency they brought, and the knowledge they bring in front of us. So referent power. So referent power is someone is, if 100 people of my followers will praise me, like, the power which I'll get. If you are a Bollywood actor, why they feel like kind of more I mean, like, if you travel everywhere, they kind of get recognized, noticed by the people. Yeah. So that's the referent power. Somebody get the power, no direct power, but because of people praising, because of people giving respect to them, because of people recognizing them, right? So that's becoming the referent power. There would be a little bit like referent power sometimes might be the legitimate power as well, right? So referent, I mean, like, you need to sometimes your referent power also comes because of your legitimate power. Yeah. For example, uh, why should I respect? If I respect my the project manager, then he should have some kind of I should hear better from the other people. I mean, like, there are multiple the kind of referent power. Yeah. Well, there is another power is that which is known as the coercive power. Um, it is like reward power and the The reverse is coercive power. What is a coercive power? Like, say, for example, if I say that people that, okay, if you do not come to the class on time, um, probably you will not get the practice test. If you do not reach by morning 7 a.m. on Saturday to practice for or to enable your practice test, you will be not allowed to give in the exam. Coercive power, which is nothing but your you are punishing to the team members. Like if something is not happening, then some result or some kind of punishment will be given to you. That is known as the coercive power, right? Again, coercive power may come up from your legitimate power, may or may not, like always. uh, Okay, so reward power means like you are saying that if we do deliver that, I will give you a reward, I will give you the good appraisal, I will give you pat on back, I will give you the letter, recommendations letter. That is the reward. And then the threatening or the negative or the punishment, coercive power. Reward, coercive, both are opposite to each other. Referent, because of people followers or the people, the way they treat me, the way they like me, the power which I get from the people is, or from my followers or from my student or from my the members, team members, right? So that is known as the referent power. Just remember that it might be some question may come up: expert, legitimate, reward, coercive, referent. Coercive, reward and coercive both are opposite to each other, and it has been given by the John French Bertram Raven. Yeah, so well, um, no need to remember directing. We have another slide, but leadership style is directing, facilitating, coaching. Um, Supporting, autocratic, consultative, delegating, bureaucratic, charismatic, democratic, laissez-faire, uh, analytical, driver, influencing. So this is the leadership style. Now, to be a good project manager, don't you think so that we should have the equal balance between almost all activities? Because I'll tell you why. Because that should not be a good or bad kind of leadership style. If the situation demand, I should be charismatic. If the situation demand, I should be the influencing to my the stakeholders. Yeah. Sometime if it is a very turbulence project, then I should be consultative and consensus. If it is a very new team members, very kind of small team, junior team members, autocratic. Sometimes the expert people are there, the different varieties, different geographical region people are associated with the project. You should be the supporting, yeah, facilitating, coaching. And if you are a coach, basically you are leading to transfer the knowledge. Sometimes um, you know you need to facilitate to them, you need to coach them. And sometimes the directive, as a director, as a kind of finance head, as the BU head, like certain rules and regulation, you direct that you have to do on so and so approach. Halo effect. Halo means like it's a kind of just consider it's a kind of halogen, right? Say for example, you have um, suppose I feel that okay, I'm good at the project management, for example, yeah. uh, if I feel I'm the project manager, and if you answered me one and two queries, then I feel okay, you are also the good project manager. You are good at the project management, which is not true, might not true, right? So halo effect, this should be avoided. I mean, like it's not practical, it's not pragmatic. You need to just remember that, yeah. Well, team stages: forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning. And leadership style: directing, facilitating, coaching, supporting. So you just need to remember, and you might get some of the questions. Okay, like during forming, what are the leadership style you require to establish? So forming, don't be kind of facilitating and coaching, huh? Or don't be delegate, because you cannot delegate, there are no teams members. Only two things: directing, autocrating during farming. All right, so just remember those are the point, right? So a couple of simple exam questions which may come up that now you've been assigned as a project manager. You notice during the executing executions that conflicts arise in the team on both technical plus the interpersonal level. Now, what is an appropriate way of handling conflict? Now, whenever you get this kind of questions, you remember what I said. First, read the last questions. If you read from the first questions and I mean like first line, and then you go to the last line of your kind of questions, you have to reread the entire question once again, because sometimes you miss certain things. So better you start with the last question. For any questions, last line, sorry, for any questions, read the last line. So first you read what is an appropriate way of handling conflict. Okay, it is asking for handling conflict. Now you read the first line, that being assigned as a project manager, you noticed during executions that the conflicts are from both technical, interpersonal. Well, one more techniques, because 200 questions for hour, right? It would be difficult for you to even uh, there are two parts of the PMP nowadays. What they do, like, uh, because it's a virtual now and it's a prometric, they will allow that first 2 hours would be 100 questions. Well, after that, they will give a pause of 10 or 15 or 20 minutes of break. Not 20 minutes, 10 to 15. I believe 10 minutes as well. Now, after 10 minutes, you will come back again. But the problem is that whatever the question you appeared, understood, or got it from the first slot, that will not be repeated. It means logically they've broken the entire 200 question into two set. 100 question is the first set, 2 hours, take a break, 10-15 minutes, come back, appear for the second set, and done. But for me in 2008 was not that the case. I used to sit the entire time. In fact, those who have already gone through that time, there were no breaks at all. Yes, we can take a break, once, but not officially break. Yeah. All right, so let's see the answer. I can see the multiple people say about Radhakrishnan, um, Prava, Sima, right? Apita 336. Sorry, I forgot Snigdha or Sima or something. Okay. Durga Prasad, Rajgod, Himabind, you all say C, Madhavi and Rajagod Gundula. Okay. Okay, C or A. The question: what is an appropriate way to handling the conflict? Conflict should be addressed early, and okay, C talks about conflict should be addressed early and usually in private using a direct collaborative approach. Okay. See, now eliminate process. D is not correct, because coercive power is something else. Yeah, not related to that. Yeah, a conflict should be handled in a meeting so that the entire team. Well, by the way, it is talks about B is somehow correct, but may not always true. A conflict distract the team and disrupt the work rhythm. You should always, smooth them when they surface. But you know what the A talks about is a generic statement. Yeah. But here the question is saying that you during the execution, first of all, it is not a generic question. They said it's a execution phase conflict. You can have the planning phase also, conflict might be there, right? So you can have the monitoring controlling phase also, you may get. Well, now uh, somehow you have A or C, then B and D eliminated, right? So you can go back, if I'm not wrong. um, you first start with the private, talk with them one to one. Yeah. And make sure that you are giving some kind of the what to say, like the constructive feedback or the input. A is correct, but it's a statement. It's not a solution. I mean, like it said that you should always smooth them when they surface. Yes, we understand. But this question is not asking. the generic statement level. I hope you got that. Yeah. Okay. Good, Madhavi. Well, I mean, like this is what I'll share at the later point. Okay. Um, Simple questions. This is the last questions. During human resource planning, you identify that your team members are not sufficiently qualified for that task, which may be an appropriate solution to this problem. Okay. Well, what do you think? Okay. Uh, you all are right. That's the correct answer. Like developing a training plan. Those who have given the training plan, uh, that's correct. Absolutely, Bhaskar, Venkat, Prakash, Srinivasalu, Gangadhar, Ramesh, Sridhar, Sheikh, Madhavi, yeah, all Radhakrishnan, Himabindu, Raghavendra. Yes, you all are right. The answer is B. Prasad Satyarani. Yes. True, good. I mean, like this is how the question will come. Sometime what happened, the another trick, like one trick is that you read the last line of the question and then go for the next line or the previous lines. And the another thing, do not read the entire question. Sometimes you need to very quickly go through surface. It's a kind of surfacing, browsing, whenever you go to the Google, do you read the entire thing? No, you browse the entire thing, right? So you just need to do that. Scanning of questions and do that. Well, the another solution to pass, please apply your, um, I mean, like 1 and 2 days before of your exam, do not read the entire detail. Some of the calculation you can read, but do not uh, try to avoid the reading the PMBOK guide and all. I'll tell you because whenever you read a topic, it goes and sit on your subconscious stuff, right? So basic understanding. So your IQ, sometime it may require to pick up the right answer. Yeah. If you if you feel before on the day of exam or before the exam, again reading the lot of things, I mean, like there are a lot of techniques which we'll discuss, but I may say that, but your left brain, right brain, some are in the subconscious state. So you need to have certain free space given to your brain. So during the exam, it is very tough to practice that. Just leave it. You no need to read during the exam day or one day before. Yeah. And just memorize the key point. That's all you need to do. And you need to give some space of the breathing of your brain. And then it will work like a very faster approach. I mean, like that's how you can also apply the trick. Good. So this is what I mean, like the entire question set has been given. All right. Any questions on the resource management? So please feel free to drop me a note. All right. Well, I'm also available on the email if you really need some kind of input on anything. Yeah. But strategize without strategy, PMP would be difficult. And strategize, but not serious. The more you serious, the activeness will go down. All right. So I think we have some few more time. Let's very quickly go through the stakeholder management. Yeah. So recap I have done. Okay, good. All right. So our idea is that to talk about now the project stakeholder management. We'll just couple of more minutes, 10 minutes. We'll just complete that. I mean, like couple of slide. Okay. During these sessions, I mean, like on this slide, you would be learning about what is a stakeholder management and the stakeholder management process related to your PMBOK guide. Will not talk in generic about the project manager. You remembered I said even the program manager, those who are having more than 15 years or 10 years of in project management, they also failed the PMBOK or the PMP exam. Well, that's pretty simple because, uh, you know, whatever you implement, that's not the project management. It means it says that if you are failing, people are failing without. So PMBOK guide, you need to remember. So from PMBOK perspective, project management body of knowledge, sixth edition, which is nothing but 2017, 2021 in Jan, we'll be getting the seventh edition. And never feel that okay, there would be a lot of change in seventh edition. Trust me, whatever the percentage change, even if you don't read and if you prepare the PMBOK guide, the entire thing, of course there will be some mapping is required, like you need to learn the new areas like people, process, agile and all. but but it's not required that, or it is not that there would be a very huge changes. It's a kind of upgrade for the few topics or adding. And so get acquainted with all the stakeholder management process. That would be our output. What are the inputs? Tools, technology, ITTO is also another expected outcomes. Plus the examinations questions, a 1 and 2 and 3 sample questions. Well, if I can go to my slide here, which is talks about the stakeholder management, right? So in this diagram, uh, suppose assume that you want to create a restaurant, right? So you want to start a business, which is the restaurant business. Now I want to create a very profitable chain of business in Visakhapatnam, Guntur, the other areas, South Indian mess, yeah, with Andhra Special Thali, for example, right? So what should I do when I start a business? First, we need to understand which area, definitely, yes, who are my stakeholders if I'm starting a business. My first stakeholder would be someone who is funding me, who is the stakeholder who is sponsoring me. Either it's a self-sponsored or the bank loan, or probably, the partnership with someone. So they are one of my stakeholder. The second stakeholder is that I want to make sure that opening a restaurant, I need a land acquisitions. So the owner of the building, owner of the land, whether it's rented or leased, that also the another stakeholders. The government approval is, getting the approval from the government to start a business, at Visakhapatnam, Akayapallam area, right? For example. So I need the approval, and that's how you need to identify the stakeholder, your government approvals, your you need to make sure that the surrounding, there should not be any conflict with any other stakeholders. Identify your stakeholder. Those are directly and indirectly associated with your project. Not only you find it out who are directly and indirectly associated with your chain of restaurant business, like in another stakeholder is your affiliations or your franchisee. Either you take franchisee or you offer franchise to someone else. Yeah. Now from Visakhapatnam, then you thought about, okay, let me go back to uh, you know uh, to establish a small sort of, small set of food chain business in Kailasgiri area. Yeah. Well, so find it out stakeholders and then plan your stakeholder engagement. How to make sure that you engage. So engaging does not mean that they will come and work for you. Engaging means you provide them some input. Number one, make sure you that provide them the feedback and take some input from them, and you update them the day-to-day progress, or if any risk are arising. And sometime you need to take some sponsor, some money fund, the funding, provide them the profit, share the profit. So engage your stakeholders. Yeah, satisfy your government rules and regulations. um, you know like People are getting food on social distancing. People are wearing the mask if you are opening a restaurant now nowadays. All right, so all sort of things are nothing but your plan your stakeholder engagement, and then plan and manage stakeholder plan, manage, monitor the stakeholder engagement. Well, this slides talks about these are the point. Okay. uh, well, project stakeholder management is okay. Let's talk about sixth edition. Okay, identifying the stakeholder. As I said, now how to identify and what are the process to identify the stakeholder. Before doing any kind of business, you also need to make sure that stakeholder analysis is one of the point which you need to do, like stakeholder analysis. So when I start preparing for my hotel restaurant, then apart from my approval, all those government process, I have to prepare my to-do checklist, and each and every who are the kind of responsible account. I mean, like, to whom to be consulted. Number two, and number three, who are the decision makers, and what kind of the contact number, contact details, and what are the rules and guidelines, or the how to engage, the stakeholders. So all sort of things need to be captured by you. Well, that is nothing but the stakeholder analysis. It means you need to find it out the strength, weakness of your personas. Like, personas are nothing but the term which is used in nowadays. Personas means understanding your customers, understanding the customer needs, similarly understanding your government rule and regulations. If i if I do not follow certain guidelines without using mask, they may come off and fine me anything, like. So if I don't close by 11 p.m., my the from Sitampeta, people police will come and close the hotel. I mean, like that, you need to understand. So and then once you understand the stakeholder and analysis, you need to do the expert judgment. It means you need to someone ask your friend, colleagues who are already into the chain of business, restaurant business, that what are the inputs from them. You need to secure the input. Like, whenever you want to be a kind of PMP certified, then what you need to do, you need to secure from other PMPs, input, how they prepare, what they did. So expert judgment. Well, and then you go start meeting with your stakeholders. So these are the tools and technologies, or the tool or techniques. Finally, you got a very clear picture about a two-dimensional, your kind of matrix based, your stakeholder 1, 2, 3, 4, their weak areas, their strength, that what you need to engage them, and where are there more impact from the stakeholders. So stakeholder is also for your hotel business, like the segment of people who will come to your the order, like it's online food delivery, or probably it's in-house. And if it is a in-house, then are you providing the South Indian, North Indian, a lot of other varieties. So everything you need to take care, right? So this is what your, well, this tools and technology is says that, like, this is the hype, how the stakeholders involved. So the x-axis says that the interest, the y-axis talks about the power or impact. Those people who are interested high, but they have low, I mean, like, in terms of power, or in terms of kind of what is it, like, impact is less. So they should be keep informed. I mean, like, these are the dots are there. So this area stands for keep informed. So interest is less. Like, say for example, if you're opening a restaurant, a few people or few organization or few areas where the people are stakeholder are least interest on your business, and they are also the least power, matlab least impact from their side. So what you need to do, you just need to make sure that they should monitor, or you should provide them some kind of basic input, right? So keep informed, monitor, just see, like, if something is happening from their side. Well, if your stakeholders are highly interested and the impact from them is also high, make sure that you manage very closely. Yeah. And but interest is less but very high impact, make keep them satisfied. So these are the two things which you need to take care as a project manager. Keep the satisfied, keep them satisfied who are high impact with low interest, and manage very closely, who are not only interested highly, but also they can impact the product or the project, manage closely, right? So these are the entire areas. All right. Okay. Uh, uh, Prava, you asked me, please slide on the please area. Okay. Cost benefit analysis, CBA. Yes, I think there are multiple slides which I have not shared yet. I understand, Prabha. Like, I'm sharing phase by phase, making sure that you all get all the document. And even spoke to Kiran to make sure that you all get the document. Yeah, good. So we'll stop here because it's just in time. It's 9 p.m. IST. Probably the exact time at your time. Any other queries and questions, team, to address today? Yes, Raghavendra, like we have the next two scheduled. Tomorrow we are covering the entire slide. I'll tell you what we need to cover. That professional ethics we'll cover tomorrow, and then whatever the stakeholder plus procurement quality, anyway, we have covered it. And if possible, there is one slide on the value, couple of slide on the value management was pending. So all the slides to be completed tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, 1 hour, we'll just recap few of the important topics, sharing the document, tips and tricks, and some of the sample questions, right? Yes, procurement, Madhavi. Yes, procurement is very, I mean, like, it's easy topic. Yeah, we'll go through that. All right. So good. I think we have. Yes, the quality, if you see, we have covered multiple areas of the quality in the different areas, but I'll consolidate, Raghavendra. Yeah, that quality I mentioned, if you see in my slide, I mean, like, this quality is there. Value management, there are cost is been done, but 2 3 slides which I wanted to show you. Even the IRR is also pending, and if possible, couple of one MPP chart, um, Gantt chart, uh, cost slide. Anyway, tomorrow it will be completed. IRR. So all these four to be completed tomorrow as well. Anyway, these are the template which I'll share. Good. All right. So that's all from my side today. And yes, Pradeep, you can PMBOK guide. You can get it the 6th, but tomorrow we'll talk about the professional ethics. Yeah. Yes, Madhavi. Yes, PDUs are required to complete the exam. Absolutely. Yes, it's required. Good. So keep writing. You know my mail ID. Kiran has already shared. If you have my number as well. Whenever you need any information on the PMPs and all, uh, I know it's a time taking because 35 hour is not a small. It's almost 3 days, full days, or even 3.5 days. Yeah. Sorry, 4 days, 4.5 days. Uh, good. All right. So how to collect PDs, I'll tell that. Thank you, Prakash, Madhavi, Raghavendra, everyone. So if there are no questions, I would like to say thank you each one of you for joining with me for the session today. We have only, I can say, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, and hope to meet you tomorrow. Have a nice day, guys, and stay safe, stay at home. We'll meet tomorrow for the PMP training. Thank you. Bye-bye.